Silent Hill F has been called a complete failure. Some even say it doesn't deserve the Silent Hill name at all. This harsh statement isn't without reason. Considering Silent Hill is the biggest psychological horror franchise ever, fans naturally have very high expectations for every new entry. But the reality is, Silent Hill F brought a variety of issues that made the game fall short of those expectations. What's even more surprising is that, despite all the negative press surrounding it, Silent Hill F broke franchise records by selling 1 million copies in just 24 hours after release. So how can a game that sold that fast and that much be considered a failure? Let's talk about it. Silent Hill F was officially released last September 2025. The game tells the story of a high school student named Hinako Shimizu.
Hey, Hinako, do I get to hold on to the 500 yen I owe you too?
Who finds her town covered in fog and transformed into a place filled with monsters and horrific phenomena. This game is quite different from your typical Silent Hill games. Let's take Silent Hill 2 as an example. James Sunderland receives a letter from his late wife to meet in the town of Silent Hill.
Yeah, I'm looking for Silent Hill. Is this the right way?
Goes there, and ends up being chased by iconic monsters like Pyramid Head. But Silent Hill F takes place in the Japanese town of Ebisugaoka in the 1960s, meaning it's set in a place that is very far from the town of Silent Hill, despite the game's title. You could point to Silent Hill 4, The Room, where Henry Townsend is trapped in room 302 in the town of Ashfield.
What the hell? What's going on here?
Which also isn't part of Silent Hill. But the antagonist, Walter Sullivan,
I got this from Miss Galvin,
was a direct link who dragged the entire darkness of the Silent Hill cult into Henry's room through the 21 Sacraments ritual. Even though it was geographically in Ashfield, Room 302 was transformed by Walter into a spiritual extension of Silent Hill. Walter was raised and brainwashed by the Order, the original cult of Silent Hill. The cult indoctrinated Walter into believing that Room 302 was his holy mother. Armed with the mystic knowledge he learned from the cult, Walter cursed Henry's room to connect directly with Silent Hill's otherworld. While Silent Hill 4 gave us a very logical reason through the character of Walter Sullivan and the Silent Hill cult, in Silent Hill F, there isn't a single piece of lore connected to Silent Hill. Konami's decision to move the setting to Japan feels like it was purely for a new visual aesthetic. There is no historical connection, no remnants of the Silent Hill cults. Even the supernatural phenomena occurring in Ebisugaoka stand alone as unfamiliar local mythology, like a plant spore curse or ancient legends about a fox god clan.
These things, these sick monsters.
So, the first problem with Silent Hill F is its setting being disconnected from the Silent Hill lore. And when it comes to geography, that actually isn't the main issue as long as they maintain a lore connection to Silent Hill. Because Silent Hill 4 proved that leaving the original town can still be successful. But it doesn't stop there. This second issue is much more serious, and even sparked a long debate among fans. Of course, I'm talking about the combat.
Cut it out. I don't want to talk about that right now.
The main problem lies in the very strict stamina system. The game even limits us to only 3 consecutive dodges. If you try to do more than that, Hinako will immediately run out of breath and freeze in place. This mechanic is completely unfamiliar to Silent Hill veterans. If we compare it to the Silent Hill 2 remake, James Sunderland can keep running and swinging his steel pipe endlessly, as long as he's alive. Then there's the perfect dodge mechanic. To keep your stamina from draining too fast, the game requires us to dodge at the very last second before a monster's attack lands. If the timing is right, the game's visuals change to slow motion, and our stamina instantly recovers.
You serious?
Instant reflex features like this completely deviate from the essence of Silent Hill's survival horror, where fear is built on the character's movement feeling stiff and helpless. But behind all these complicated melee mechanics, There is actually one major reason that makes Silent Hill F different from all the other Silent Hill games, which is the complete absence of firearms. The developer's decision to remove pistols or shotguns actually makes sense when we look at how all the mechanics above work. We can imagine how weird the game would be if firearms used a stamina system. The combination of all these mechanics sounds interesting for an action game, but the problem is, Silent Hill is not Dark Souls.
Are you kidding me?
We come to this franchise to enjoy the psychological horror atmosphere and strong narrative, not to memorize enemy attack patterns like fighting a boss in Elden Ring. This game loses that classic Silent Hill survival horror vibe because it forces players to use mechanics that feel way too Souls-like. Motoi Okamoto, the game's producer, actually pushed back against calling Silent Hill F a Souls-like. According to him, the stamina and counter system wasn't copying Dark Souls, but had been around since the days of Silent Hill 3 and Silent Hill 4.
What?
Technically, his defense isn't entirely wrong. But in reality, the function of those mechanics in the older games was very different. In Silent Hill 3, the block button was just a passive defensive feature that was rarely used, because the character controls still used tank controls, making players prefer simply walking around to avoid enemies.
My daddy always told me not to talk to strangers.
Meanwhile, in Silent Hill 4, Henry Townsend did have his own stamina bar, but that indicator didn't restrict basic movements like running or dodging. It only served to dictate the damage of close-range charge attacks. This difference is what makes Okamoto's argument feel like a forced justification.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
In the classic series, all those mechanics were just optional supporting features, because the main focus of the game remained on solving puzzles, atmospheric exploration, and strict resource management. But there's one thing about the combat in Silent Hill F that I think is the most interesting to explore further. And to understand it, we need to go back to the older Silent Hill games first. If we remember James Sunderland in Silent Hill 2, he didn't just carry a pipe or a wooden plank. He also found a handgun in the Woodside Apartments and a shotgun at Brookhaven Hospital. In fact, according to the Book of Lost Memories, the handgun found inside the shopping cart was intentionally designed as a satire of gun ownership culture in America. Meaning, firearms in Silent Hill 2 weren't just fighting tools. They were thematic elements inserted on purpose.
Get some rest. I'll be back soon.
But compare that to Silent Hill 4, which was also an experimental game just like Silent Hill F. It turns out firearms were already exceedingly rare throughout the game. Henry does carry a pistol, but compared to the previous 3 games, firearms mean almost nothing in this one. So if we trace the timeline, Silent Hill had actually started moving away from a reliance on firearms since Silent Hill 4, long before Silent Hill F was released. The difference is, Silent Hill 4 still left a few firearms as an option,
You're a real person.
while Silent Hill F completely removed them. The developers themselves explained the official reason on the PlayStation blog. According to them, the decision to remove firearms wasn't just a gimmick, but a way to rebuild the sense of tension usually gained from limited ammo and aiming precision, and translate it into close-quarters combat. Without bullets, weapon durability becomes the replacement for the resource scarcity system. So, according to this official explanation, the reason is purely design philosophy, nothing else. Now, let's circle back to the question we started with. If Silent Hill F was really a total failure, sales should have flatlined after the first week. 1 million copies on day 1 could easily just be hype, with old fans buying it purely off the Silent Hill name. But that's not what happened. As of April 2026, the game has pushed past 2 million copies. That means 7 months post-launch, it's still moving units. A genuinely hated game just doesn't keep selling like that. And that's just the commercial side. The critical reception is even more interesting. Famitsu, Japan's biggest gaming outlet, gave Silent Hill F a 36 out of 40.
Wow!
That is the highest score they've ever given a Silent Hill game, beating the original Silent Hill 2's 34 and the remake's 35. So the game people claim doesn't deserve the title is literally sitting on the highest score in the franchise's history.
Nice.
And that's not coming from Western reviewers, but from the media in the franchise's own birthplace. The same goes for award season. Silent Hill F swept 4 categories at the Horror Game Awards 2025, including Game of the Year. In Japan, it won Game of the Year at the Famitsu Dengeki Awards, which is decided entirely by fan votes. Let me repeat that. Fan votes. So the narrative that the entire fan base hates this game is just flat out wrong. The reality is, the fan base is split right down the middle. So, what's the actual argument from the people who love this game? It all comes down to one thing: the story. The script for Silent Hill F was written by Ryukishi07. Before he was a writer, he actually worked as a civil servant in Japan's child welfare system, spending years dealing face-to-face with child victims of domestic abuse. So when the game tells the story of Hinako living under an abusive father and being forced into an arranged marriage for her parents' ambitions, that isn't written by someone just imagining trauma. It's written by someone who saw it firsthand. Suddenly, that 1960s Japan setting we criticized earlier for just being an aesthetic choice actually serves a real purpose, because the patriarchal pressure of that era is the foundation of the entire horror. And this is where the argument for Silent Hill F really comes together. Think back to why Silent Hill 2 is considered a masterpiece. It isn't because of the town itself, it's because the town is a mirror. Pyramid Head isn't terrifying just because of his design. He's terrifying because he is a punishment born out of James's own guilt. Silent Hill F uses that exact same formula, just with different ingredients. The rotting beautiful dolls, the scarecrows, the red flowers creeping across the town. They all stem from Hinako's trauma, exactly like the monsters in Silent Hill 2 stemmed from James's sins. So, if your definition of Silent Hill is the physical town, then yeah, Silent Hill F fails. But if your definition is psychological horror, where the outside world reflects the protagonist's inner wounds, then Silent Hill F actually executes that concept better than most. NPR even called it their favorite entry in the franchise since the original Silent Hill 2. Since Silent Hill 2. That is serious praise. At the start of this video, we set out with one question. How can a game that sold this fast and this much be considered a failure? Well, now you have all the facts. The disconnected lore, the jarring combat, the loss of that classic Silent Hill feel, all of that is real, and you'll definitely feel it when you play. But the highest review score in franchise history, the consistent sales 7 months later, and a brilliantly written story? Those are real too. So, did Silent Hill F fail? That really just depends on what Silent Hill means to the person playing it. One thing is for sure though, this story isn't over. Konami is already gearing up for the next entry, Silent Hill Townfall, handled by yet another studio.
Hey! Who's there?
And whatever your verdict is on Silent Hill F, one fact is undeniable. It proved to Konami that a Silent Hill game without the town of Silent Hill can still sell millions. Like it or not, the next games in this franchise are going to be built on the precedent it just set. So now I'll turn it over to you. Do you personally think Silent Hill F is a failure or not? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I read all of them. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you in the next video.